When I was the sports editor of my college newspaper back in the mid 70s, you do the math, kids. I had my usual column for the week. We would write everything by Monday, and Monday night it would go to the printer and it would come out on Wednesday. So, we had the whole weekend, no sports or whatever. I did college, a little bit of, we had our own school teams, football, basketball, all that kind of stuff. And then we did a little pro thing. So I decided one week to do a prediction on football games. It was called Glick Predicts. I mean, it's just a stupid name, Glick Predicts. So now it's time to bring back Glick Predicts because I have a
Glick I thought it was Glick for Glick Predicts. That's so much better.
Glick Predicts. A prediction, a view of my opinion of what I think is going to happen as a result of something. Anyway, I am declaring today the first day of the recession. It is Friday, February 21st, 2025. And the reason I am doing that is because today consumer sentiment reports came out and they were lousy. And guess what? Those things don't go back to being good right away. That was from 30 days ago, basically, when they started taking those polls. It's only going to get worse. The more people that are laid off, that's less money into an economy.
Mm-hmm.
More tariffs, more shutdowns, more everything. And that's what causes a recession. So follow two things in the market, forget everything else. Price of oil and the 10-year treasury. That's it. You follow those two things, you understand geopolitics, basically. Not details, but you kind of get the whole thing. So the idea with oil is it's going to be here. It's going to be around. It's a commodity. It's geopolitical. It is big business. And, it's going to go up when things are good and go down when things are bad. It's basically what it is. The 10-year treasury is, I don't know, about 4.5, 4.6, whatever it is. And it's going to start coming down. And that's going to put pressure on the Fed to have to lower interest rates. But you have the problem with inflation. Has inflation leveled off? We don't know. It's probably going to get worse. So you're going to have inflation and no jobs at the same time. What do? Raise rates or lower rates? Well, the fact is, they don't need to raise rates. This is from happening because this type of inflation is being caused by things outside of business's control.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really they got to lower rates. They got to stimulate the economy. Well, guess what? 6 months from now, we're going to be doing two things. A lot of refinances and actually still a lot of purchases in the Bay Area, especially where people still have jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And Seattle, people still have jobs. So it's just a matter of where people want to live and have jobs. So there you go. There's my big announcement.
I completely concur. And I can add to that in that my business in marketing and advertising is a little bit like a canary in the coal mine, where we're in the front lines of seeing what's happening. And all the recent sort of layoffs have already started to affect my business. We lost two accounts last week that are both nonprofits whose funding was completely removed. They thought they were getting 20 million. They got 2 million, and the people were all laid off, and suddenly the contracts were canceled instantly. So that's getting a ripple effect on what I'm doing. It's a ripple effect on the people that are laid off. And it's going to then flow through. But the one good thing about a recession is, well, there's no good thing about a recession, but the one thing people don't realize with a recession is that it's not across the board, everyone's suffering. There's always somebody that actually does better in a recession. So
that's always going to happen. Yeah, you can just ask AI what business you should be in. based
In a
on this.
recession, wine does real well in recession.
Wine. Okay, let's go off on a little wine.
Alcohol does
Drink
well.
wine in your house.
Mhm.
So here's something to talk about with Drew. So I've heard wine sales, alcohol in general, have been going way down because millennials they don't drink.
25%. There's a predicting a 25% decrease in wine consumption the next year. So that if you're a wine drinker, it's going to be great because there'll be a lot of cheap wine on the market. If you're a winery, you're going to have some issues. And we were up in Los Olivos 2 weeks ago, and the tasting rooms were empty. I mean, the wine industry's got there's a reckoning coming.
Yeah, but I mean, even with the wineries, though, right? I'd say that the luxury wine still stays to a high price, right? Because people, I mean, there's all these companies, and I wonder how they're doing that use wine as an investment tool, right? Where like we just keep the wines and try to see how they appreciate.
So that brings up a question. Let's talk Sonoma, Napa, all that area. What's that going to do to values? Are there going to be wineries that are going to have to go out of business and become something else?
Unfortunately,
or they would just somebody rich just comes in and land banks it all. You know?
It's going to be Treasury and Estates doing a big land grab and just buying up wineries that are in arrears. It's sadly the era of the small family-owned winery is becoming a myth.
Yeah, and add that to the fact that all the people who were undocumented working there are gone. They're scared.
So, I don't have like the actual.
I don't have stats either, but
from what I know that there's actual permits for farm workers to be here legally. So the farm workers, like the whole like ICE and like, oh, we're going to get deported. Farm workers aren't really affected because there's permits for them. So, and again, it is an unconfirmed fact, but I think that's policies.
Yeah, because why are we seeing all these videos about people who had farms and have nobody working there?
Well, I think, but that's just because they're not informed correctly. And I think it's,
I see.
Yeah, they also don't want to go through like the loops of paying for those visas. But, I think that's also a ruin for like education, right? It's the same way how people don't understand, like in the real estate side, like how mortgages work, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand that they have to get it fully under in pre-approval, and they don't understand that they don't need 20% down, but you hear the news, illegal. And
context, baby. Our favorite word.
But one industry that for farmland will still be booming is the coffee industry. So instead of the wineries, maybe pushing to the coffee.
Yeah, coffee prices are going up because there was a drought in Africa.
Yep. Oh, and then the tariffs. So we domestically we produce coffee in Hawaii. Is there coffee produced in the continental U.S.?
I was thinking about that, and the other day, it's funny you say that, and I can't think of anywhere. I'm sure there's small batches by somebody who does something, but you needed to make it Arabica, and don't quote me, it has to be like over 2,000 feet elevation, something like that. I forget what the number is, but it to be certified, and the Arabica is real coffee. Everything it's not is junk. So
yeah, I think it's Hawaii, and I think the secondary market in North America would be like Mexico and in Oaxaca.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not there.
Oaxaca, yeah. But that's in Mexico, not in the United States.
Yeah, that's why I said North America.
Yeah, Oaxaca's like almost a mile high.
Oh yeah, Oaxaca, yeah, the plains of Oaxaca. Well, here's a good chance to mention Costa Rica, great coffee producer.
Oh yeah, delicious.
There's properties for sale there. If you know where to find it, go to arrivva.com/Costa Rica.
No, it's Costa-Rica.
Oh, it's Costa-Rica.
Can you please change that?
Arrivva.com/Costa Rica, Costa-Rica. We'll spell it correctly, but with or without the dash, it'll work.
Okay. Thank you.
Coffee, got wine, got recession, got migrant.
Yeah, let's get to what we do.
Let's talk about Colorado and the for sale by owners.
Yeah. So this is very cool. So there's a guy who made a TikTok. His name is Realtors Hate Me. So that's the greatest traction. He's a smart guy. He's personable. He's got a very nice house in Boulder, Colorado. You know, he's a dude. He gets it. He understands what to do, how to market a house. It's probably in marketing. He never said what he does. So he's not your average person, but he's also trying to prove a point that obviously we knew from being in the industry is the game that's being played to make you not be able to sell your own house. And he's complaining basically about Zillow. And the fact is, Zillow shows you listings, but you have to push a button for the for sale by owners. And he barely gets any hits because of it. We know about this from the lawsuit that Rex had with them, REX, that they weren't on the MLS. That was their whole model. And I think they plan to either make money by making it successful or suing because they saw these problems beforehand. So he's kind of run into the same problem. The Rex thing got against Rex in the first round. There's another round. I don't know what's going on. But he's also talking about, being able to get to agents. So he's buying a list of agents. He's nailing something out. He's going to pay 2%. So he says he gets tons of agents trying to call him to get the listing. Others have questions. I mean, there's still stuff he doesn't know. Like I told him, make sure your buyer is fully underwritten. They didn't know that. I didn't check. He probably didn't do inspections. So he's going to have that. The forms in Colorado are actually online. That's the good thing because the state issues the forms. So it's really easy there. Try it in California. You can't get access to the car forms. You have to be an agent. And me as an agent with my license with them says, I can't give it to you. I can't distribute it to anybody. I have to use it for my own business. So I don't need the aeration. So I don't give it out. So there's the problems in California. So yeah, if you're in marketing, you really know what you're doing. Maybe you hire an agent just to tell you what to do. You know, for a couple $1,000, assist you in doing the small things. But it's the big things that he doesn't know about: contingencies, mortgage letters, how to negotiate these things, home warranties, blah blah blah. You know, it does come with experience for a real estate agent. And most of them are hopefully trained to get how to do the process.
And just we're talking about two different things, though, right? Because I think that this man who's listing his house is really knowledgeable, or he's knowledgeable enough to understand that for a $2 million property, unless you can give me a list of what you're going to do, there's no real reason for an agent to be making $80,000.
Oh,
right?
Without a doubt.
His biggest issue is that there's so much lobbying through realtors in Colorado where there's no ability for him to be able to just get part of what it would actually help him from an agent side, right? So there's no like limited service kind of, and I didn't go as deep into the rabbit hole as you did, Fred. So I don't know exactly what he's doing or what are the limits in Colorado for this. But apparently from what he was saying is there's no way for limited services for the consumer in real estate. You either have to be full service or nothing at all to be for sale by owner, which
is interesting. Well, to people in Colorado, would you want a small service just to kind of get you over the hump in Colorado? We could open that kind of business. I have no problem with that.
And I think the reason for that too is, so here's what happens. So when there's like a limited sort of service is that the consumer just gets screwed over because sometimes when people want to save too much money, they go through these flat fee services that they don't do any of the disclosures for you. All they do is put you on the MLS. And I have a listing that I'll share with the channel here. It's the listing in Los Angeles with an agent that posted pictures with their phone, and not just that, with the tenants or owners in the background.
You get the tenants too?
What kind of garbage is that, right? So when there's a limited service option for that, and the consumer is not given a level work, it's going to hurt the actual price, right? But it has to be separated by the fact of, if you're going to charge less, you have to still keep service top of the line to not affect the consumer negatively, right?
100%.
We have a new client that joined us either this week or last week. One of their questions was, "Oh, well, do you think that because you guys do a different model of real estate, it affects your transactions and people don't want to work with you?" And the answer to that is, we're actually under contract right now in a property in Mountain View. And before we got under contract, I spoke to the agent. So yes, we do talk to the agents, just for those who are wondering if we are full service or not. And the agent calls me and they're like, "Hey, I've never worked with you, so I kind of want to know, what your model is, because I just came out of our big brokerage meeting." So this is like internally, brokerages have like a weekly meeting with, agencies from all over the state or the country or whatever your brokerage is. And they said that there's like a surge in um, brokerages who are just sending offers without the agents ever seeing the home, with even not even being licensed. And these are like offers that look like scams, right? The problem is not that there's a flat fee agency, it's not a discount agency. It's an industry problem where there's a lot of brokerages who they are fearful of losing deals. So they just send offers that are going to never get under contract, right? And this happens usually when you have investors. When working with investors sometimes want to write offers that are like, for example, 500K below list, right?
Stupid.
Yes. And with terms that sellers would never accept. So what does that, when an agent sends that type of offer, what does that say about you as a professional? It says that you don't know what you're doing. So then you have the, you're not building up your name. Your brand is, these guys don't know what they're doing. So the difference with us is that when we speak with the agents, they know that we are a brokerage that has been in existence for a long time. You can see Fred's hairs. One thing that was mentioned in the call with this agent for the property that we're under contract right now is that, "Oh yeah, I see that you're licensed for a long time. And I see that you have a lot of transactions." And that's the difference, right? When people work with us, you know that you're working with two real estate brokers, not real estate salespeople that just got their license. And when we pick up the phone, we're able to vouch for you and say, we are working with good, excellent buyers that are fully underwritten, that are cash buyers, that are not going to flake. And we can see it by the fact that we do 100 million in transactions year over year for a long period of time. It's not that we've done 100 million in like the last 20 years, which is what a lot of these brokerages do. A lot of agents have on their bios or whatever, "Oh, I do 100 million," or whatever they do, but it's with a team of like 15 or 20 people. And for us, Fred and I are in every transaction, and we're there to guide you through the entire process, right? So there is a difference between like a discounted service. That's my whole point, right? Or a more consumer friendly approach that's still full service. So that's the hard part of knowing, like, what are you getting? What are you losing out from who you're working with? And with us, you're getting the full service, and that's a difference. So
Funny you mentioned the fact that you it's all the transactions you've done. Someone gave me a pretty good compliment the other day. Well, they gave you guys a compliment. I just took credit for it. But on the Arrivva.com/properties, whereas a lot of compasses out there are showing that they just basically spit back the MLS of all the stuff that's for sale.
yes,
What sets Arrivva apart is that actually you show the proof right there. You show the savings, you show what you've actually done. So that's way more important than what's available, because you can go see that on Redfin. But what I've actually done is proof. And a
Yes.
lot of a lot of these agents can say 100 million, but go look at the page, go look at the property page, and you'll see that this is real.
Yeah.
Yes, one of the gimmicks that a lot of brokerages do, and it's also a lead generator, is people often have like their internal MLS feed, and they're like, "Oh, look at properties here," right? But it's the same stuff that you find on Redfin and Zillow. And all the only reason they're giving you a personalized link for you is so that they can control you, right?
Yeah.
So that you know what properties you're watching. They're not providing any value add on. They actually hurts you because the internal compass or the internal like brokerage MLS feed is not going to have as good as tools as Zillow, right? You have to be a joke to think that. So
Exactly. That's why we tell our clients, go to Zillow or Redfin, because they'll do a better job than any third party app that I can buy that has the MLS feed. Because the problem with the MLS feed is you have to go within their parameters. You can't go outside the box. They control all the data. If they had just an API and we could futz with it, my God, the people who are brilliant in this industry and doing tech would make it on steroids. But you can't, because the realtors are so stupid. They should sell the API at some stupid price and make it part of Salesforce or things like that. But no, they're all a bunch of little MLSs run by people who don't get business. They just, have their little clicks and they have their data and, they keep adding on these programs for the majority of the agents. And we never do any of them because they're of no value to us. We're beyond that. So they're still teaching the fourth graders, it's like,
well, sometimes in just being in the industry, we get calls from VCs or from investors trying to build a product. And it's usually just a lead magnet. That's usually what it is. It's never to actually help the consumer have better tools for their home purchasing or home sale. It's usually like, hey, how can we capture the buyer, right? So you see a lot of these companies trying to, push the buyer into like one closed system. But that system is going to always negatively affect the consumer. You need to be able to give the consumer the freedom to search Zillow and search Redfin and not put them into a box, right? Now, it's going to be the same thing for the most part, Redfin and Zillow. But when you go to these smaller kind of legacy apps, you're not going to get the full service on that regard, right? So we don't push people to just use our stuff. And one of the things that we always tell people is that we have a non-exclusive contract, right? So it's being forced into using one thing is just, it's awful. Right?
It's smart.
It's smart. So
That's smart. There's the real estate office on the way to the freeway from my house. These guys are old school. It's an old shack and they still have those signs you put up on a board and it says, get your local maps here.
Yeah, and there's still people's grandparents who want to do it that way. They just don't even have this phone. So it's just few and far between. And so their market is dwindling. But they probably do a lot of rentals.
That could be it.
And so people come in from the rentals and give them, a piece of paper and whatever. I don't know.
And I think rentals. So, and I've been experiencing on my end as well, is that the best part of the U.S. real estate market is the fact that we have one place where we get all the available listings. No other country has it as well as the U.S. does, right? So if you sell your property, you can just put it in the marketplace of Zillow, and it will just post to all the other different marketplaces.
Like in contrast, how's Mexico? You just got back from Mexico City last week.
So I was in Mexico, right? And if you're trying to buy a property out there, everyone has like their Facebook group or their WhatsApp group, and it's just all super localized, right? There's no national database. There's no Zillow in Mexico. Which if you are a entrepreneur, that's where you want to head over, right? Build out
and Costa Rica to it. There's one, but it's lousy.
Yeah, I mean everywhere. Yeah, and there are some bigger companies, right? But there's no Redfin, there's no Zillow.
So how does that work? Do you go? So you're looking for a house in Oaxaca or any place? Do you go to any different
Yeah.
brokerage firms to get the full view of
Well,
all
you
the
go to
houses.
one and they kind of know between the
There you
other
go.
ones what's available, but the good ones they aren't going to tell them about. So you may have to go to 10 agencies.
So
Crazy.
the concept of a local expert actually still makes sense there.
You know what?
Without a doubt.
Yeah, but it's still, so in that regard, it negatively affects the sellers, right? On having that.
Oh, by the way, the commissions there are like 10%.
Yeah.
They're massive.
But it's because it's a broken system, right? So what you want to do is you want to have this like centralized system where you can see everything that's available. But my point for this was that now in the rental space, there isn't really this type of service. There was some huge layoffs from Redfin, I think last week, and it's because they are partnering up with Zillow to do rentals. So it's going to get a little bit better. But even in that regard, like if I want to find out how much the rent, how much the place next to me was rented for, there's no real way for me to find that out. Where in real estate sales, I can find out in public records what that place was sold for. So there is a lack of assistance for the lower income consumer, right?
Mhm.
The renters
The only way to get the results of what rents are from big companies that have this data available from the non-power is literally to pay the renters to send them a copy of their lease.
Mm.
We'll pay you $20 for a copy of your lease. Make it on the phone in the app. And here's your $20 voucher.
Mhm.
And then a lot of rent's negotiable too. So the people might not be wanting to display the fact that they negotiated down a cheaper rent than the.
Yeah, who knows? It's just something you'll just never get. It's just, I mean, we send out census workers every 10 years. I wonder if they ask what the rent is then. I don't know, but that's about the only way you're going to find a representative sample to be able to collaborate and find out what's real.
But again, renters are hurt the most, and added by the fact that you can't be represented. Like, there's no incentive for a good real estate agent or broker to represent you on rentals. It's just too expensive, right? If you're renting a place for $2,000 and you have to pay an agent a month's rent, it just doesn't become financially acceptable. So you have renters who are overpaying for their rentals too because they don't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tough world for renters out there. So that's why you eventually want to become a home buyer, because you have the public records on your side. And at least you're able to kind of sort of make money eventually, appreciation. So that's another reason why you should buy and not be a lifelong renter.
Wise advice. So let's see, as we're February 24th, February 21st, Fred has already predicted the recession starting. Renee, do you have any predictions going into this month of March?
I'd say that my best prediction was back in 2022 or end of 2021. And I said that interest rates were going to go to close to 8%. I think one of the few people, I think Fred was like, you're dumb, it's never going to happen. And it pretty much did happen. I think that what we are going to see is a lot of the high-end ticket items to become cheaper, but that's about it. I think that it's going to be a recession for the tech workers. I think for the white collar, but I think that there's a lot of jobs. I have a lot of people who are union workers who are being told like, hey, can you work 7 days a week? So if you are blue collar, if you're on the ground, you're going to be making money. So
the only way they're coming down is people stop buying them. And we know in the wine industry, people have stopped buying the luxury wine. So that's going to come down because people have got to sell it. But are people going to stop buying $21 bistro burgers? Are they going to come down to, is the hamburger going to come back down to $13, $14 again?
Yeah, no, we need to see that. I mean, I think that McDonald's is a good metric to find out how the economy is doing. And they're bringing back the $5 meals, right? They're bringing back the dollar burgers. So
not to jump around. Did you ever go to that McCosmos thing from a year ago when we had the live podcast.
The line was too big, so I didn't end up going. Yeah. But what I did do is for the Super Bowl, the day after the Super Bowl, there was a free hangover burger at Carl's Jr. So, so the day after the Super Bowl, I ate a burger for breakfast, a burger for lunch, and a burger for dinner. It was a beautiful day.
You're living the dream.
I'd be dead. I remember those days, though.
Fred's drinking watermelon and Renee's eating 4 burgers a day.
Yeah, you can't beat free product.
No, you can't.
Oh yeah, but he used to do to Krispy Kreme. It's just
Oh yeah, that was a dream. I didn't know I was living the dream.
Back in the day, I used to knock back 12 easy Christmas. I couldn't do it now.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. I couldn't even imagine it's so sugary.
I need to it's the last few years of being able to do that. So
All right, I think we've annoyed people enough.
Well, yep. This has been the latest episode of We Fixed Real Estate, and Fred predicts.
Glick predicts.
Glick predicts. Damn it. Okay, now we're over.